My parents always told me to never look outside at night. Now I know why. When I was a child, my parents had one rule that was more important than any other. Never look outside at night. Our house stood at the edge of a dense forest, a serene and picturesque setting during the day, but it transformed into a realm of foreboding shadows once the sun dipped below the horizon. They never provided a clear explanation, just repeated the warning with an intensity that made it clear they were serious. I was 10 years old, a time when curiosity often overrides caution. It was a particularly frigid winter night, the kind that sinks into your bones and makes every sound in the house echo ominously. My parents were already asleep. Their soft snores occasionally punctuated the otherwise silent house. As I lay in bed, wrapped in blankets, the urge to defy their warning and look outside consumed me. It was as though an invisible force was tugging me toward the window. The old wooden floorboards creaked softly under my weight as I tiptoed toward the window, every noise magnified by the stillness of the night. The glass was frosted over, the patterns on it like intricate lace, obscuring the view. I hesitated for a moment, heart pounding, then pressed my face against the cold glass, searching for any sign of what my parents feared so much. The moonlight bathed the forest in a silvery glow, casting long, eerie shadows. The trees stood like silent sentinels, their branches swaying gently in the wind. For a moment, everything seemed normal, almost peaceful, and I felt a rush of relief mixed with a sense of childish triumph. Then, I saw it. At first, it was just a vague shape, barely discernible among the shadows at the edge of the forest. But as my eyes adjusted, the figure became clearer. It was tall, impossibly so, with limbs that seemed elongated and misshapen. It stood unnaturally still, like a marionette awaiting the tug of its strings. My heart pounded in my chest, a drumbeat of fear that I could feel in my throat. I tried to convince myself it was a trick of the light, a product of my overactive imagination. But then it moved. Its head turned slowly, unnaturally, as if sensing my gaze. The moonlight reflected off its eyes, which glowed with a sickly, unnatural yellow light. I couldn't tear my eyes away. Paralyzed with terror, I watched as it took a step forward, then another. Its movements were slow and deliberate, almost gliding across the ground. Its limbs bent at odd angles, making my stomach churn with revulsion. I wanted to scream, to wake my parents, but my voice was trapped, frozen by fear. The figure stopped just a few feet from the window. I could see its face now, a grotesque caricature of a human face, twisted and distorted. Its skin was pale, almost translucent, and its mouth twisted into a cruel smile, revealing rows of sharp, needle-like teeth. My breath caught in my throat, and tears streamed down my face. It raised one long, bony finger to its lips, a silent command to keep quiet. I felt a wave of cold dread wash over me, stronger than anything I had ever felt before. It knew I had broken the rule. It knew I had looked. I stumbled back from the window, nearly tripping over my own feet. My heart raced as I scrambled back into bed, pulling the covers over my head like a protective shield. I lay there, trembling, my mind racing with images of the figure outside. I didn't sleep at all that night, too afraid to close my eyes. The next morning, I found my parents in the kitchen. Their faces were pale, drawn, and lined with worry. They didn't need to ask. They could see the terror etched on my face. My mother hugged me tightly, her embrace warm and comforting, but I could feel the fear in her trembling hands. "We're leaving," my father announced, his voice firm but tinged with anxiety. He didn't offer any more explanation, and I didn't ask for one. We packed our things quickly and moved away from that house within the week. They said it was for a better job opportunity, but I knew the real reason. We never spoke about that night again. The memory of those glowing yellow eyes and that twisted, smiling face stayed with me, haunting my dreams and lurking in the corners of my mind. Even now, as an adult, I never look outside at night. The fear is always there, a shadow that never quite fades, reminding me of the terror that waited in the darkness outside my childhood window.